And a warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us here for another episode of Conversations with Michael. Each month I invite my eternal self, Michael, to offer a type of energy update of all the changes that are occurring on this planet, and there's quite a few at this time. So why don't we all just take a deep breath here as we settle into sharing this relationship here for the next hour. Allow yourself to feel the support that's being freely offered here, not only from Michael, but from a variety of other non-physical angelic friends. But also notice that between each and every one of us, whether you're watching live or you're watching the recording of today's show, there's a new quality of support that's being shared between human to human. The human that's chosen to allow their soul to be in their body with them, that doesn't need to rely on energy outside of themselves. Very good. So we are, of course, streaming live from our own home studio just outside of Portland, Oregon, on this beautiful, rainy, misty day. We understand through the United States, especially the eastern and Midwest, you're going through some of the most extreme cold weather you've had in a long, long time. So we've presented this background here to help us imagine being in a nice, warm, sunny spot here where the ocean breeze is just gently caressing our lives. Because sometimes it gets a little intense in the winter when things get really cold and windy. We understand it. You can also watch today's show on our website, as some of you are doing, and a lot of you are also watching on our YouTube channel. And for those of you that are new to the teachings of Michael, feel free anytime to explore our website. We offer a variety of programs and services, all designed to help the awakened human being. And before we turn this over to Michael, I'd like to share a few quick announcements here, beginning with what's new with my wife, Coca, my best friend. Coca's been supporting my work with Michael since the very first day we met. And when we first saw each other, as I was teaching a Reiki class, and she was one of those that was participating, it was as if we were seeing a long-lost friend again. We didn't quite understand why we were feeling this, but there was an immediate connection with each other. And it's been pretty amazing relationship over the years, for the last 20 years, how that original spark continues to shine between us. It's really an amazing relationship. We often ask ourselves throughout the day, are you bored seeing me? Because we spend most of our time just with each other, and we have yet to feel that. We felt that in a lot of other relationships. We've never felt that with each other. So there's something there pretty unique that we deeply honor and respect. Treasure it, actually, each and every day. Coca discovered her own unique relationship with her soul, and a true joy for creating and expressing that relationship through a variety of nature-inspired images. And for the last 10 years, she's devoted herself to creating original mixed media wall art. Over the last 2 years, the demand for her original pieces exceeded her wildest dreams. She realized that the energy within her work simply could not be contained. Does that sound familiar to a lot of you? And that certainly resonates with what Michael's been teaching for the last 25 years through me. So earlier this month, she decided, with my help, to explore other avenues. And last week, she became partners with the largest online art gallery in the world called Fine Art America. So we invite you to check out the Artist Marketplace tab on our website and preview all the products that now include a lot of her designs. It's pretty amazing how Our creations begin to manifest when we allow the energy, the freedom, to express itself outside of our comfort zones. So take that to heart with any of you that are involved with your own creations and maybe are feeling a little frustrated because, well, maybe they're feeling stuck. And of course, coming up here in this month here being in February 1st, on February 15th, we have our next in-studio class. Of course, it's a live all-day presentation, begins at 11 a.m. and ends at 4 p.m. These are all three-part classes that happen on a bi-monthly basis. We changed the format in that if you wanted to participate in the live or have unlimited access to all the recordings, we've put all those inside the Masters Unplugged program. For that, you need to become a member. And that's something that we've enjoyed doing, making that shift, allowing more people to have access to all these programs and services that we offer on an unlimited basis. We used to do this as a 90-day short-term basis, but we prefer this to be unlimited. But of course, to do that, we've made this into a private monthly subscription group. And of course, it was set up to serve those who have awakened and now want to embody a human soul relationship. It's not for beginners, and that's why there are a few requirements before you're invited to participate. Feel free to check that out as well on our website. So if you have any questions at any time or comments about any of our programs or services, you're always welcome to contact us using our contact form on our website. So let's take a deep breath here as we now come to that part of our program where we turn this over to Michael. And again, once again, allow yourself to feel the energy that's being shared here with all of you. Indeed, I am Michael, and greetings to all of you. Let's take another deep breath. As together we allow a more intimate, a very sacred reunion to begin to unfold. One that allows your own soul to coexist with your conditioned human nature. Oh, we've said this many, many times, but just that part of how we introduce that makes it into a very impractical, perhaps for some, an impossible relationship, allowing something that has no conditions to coexist, to merge and blend with something that is completely conditioned. And yet that is what you have chosen, to have this relationship become embodied, the human soul relationship. Oh, there have been others who have experienced what you are experiencing, many of you right now, and their choice was to ascend this planet. It seems so surreal to most of humanity that such an opportunity would even be available to any human being. And in a way, that's why so many of you have decided to stay here, to make sure that it's presented in such a way that makes it quite tangible, makes it very physical. But more than that, well, you just like to have your cake and eat it too. You like the opportunity to experience your life with that part of you, that soul nature, that part of you that you already are, that you were before you incarnated. You decided in practical terms, why not just be me since I'm already here? And of course, you understand this is such a rare experience, not only for you, but for all of us in the non-physical realms to witness such an unfolding. We understand as well that for so many of you, over these last 10, 30 years, your life has literally been turned upside down. And if that's the prerequisite, and in a way it is, for any human being to choose such an experience, well, not many are going to raise their hand and say, I'd like to do that. But it is rather intense. Would you not agree? Perhaps some of you are experiencing physical health issues as we speak right now, turning your life upside down. For some of you, your relationships with other people that you have a heart connection with have drastically changed, altering how not only you view yourself, but how those that were and have been connected to you view you. That's not always easy, as so many of you have already discovered. And of course, you're now experiencing a very different relationship to how your life is being supported. A radical shift. For most of humanity, the support is based on relying on being connected to this mental-based construct of a reality that has you needing to rely on each other for support. And we're not just saying that from a very personal, heartfelt way. We're saying that energetically. That's not something that most of humanity wants to own, in that it's very true. We can see how the energy is being shared, or more appropriately, being extracted, being consumed. That's why you have such an issue on this planet based on consuming your natural resources. If you've given each other unconsciously the freedom to also extract those energies from each other. All of you here that have chosen to become awakened and have chosen to embody this human soul relationship, you know what you had to go through to make this new relationship between you, the human, and the soul become real, to become sovereign. You had to let go of that support base, the mental base support system. And all these changes, all of them, have created a lot of stress for your mind and for a lot of you, for your body. And of course, once again, we are only speaking to those of you that have chosen to awaken and embody in this lifetime a very sacred relationship with your soul. In a few years, we'll be speaking to the new wave of awakened human beings, offering what all of you have already gone through, the first steps, the beginning of becoming awakened, of becoming free. All of you will say to those, if they happen to be in your life for whatever reason, that it requires such a devotion to your own heart. It requires so much trust beyond what the mind knows. Let's take a breath there. It requires that you relate to your freedom as actually being priceless. And from your human perspective, at the very least, you would think it would also come with some kind of guarantee for something that is so priceless. Now, I, Michael, am hoping here that Robert appreciates my sense of humor there, and yes, he's giving me a small thumbs up. Not that I need it. Not that I need it. But in so many ways, it is Robert who is teaching me about the human sense of humor. So, indeed, it's because of this, your willingness to experience the priceless nature of your freedom with no guarantee There is no guarantee that if there is the pursuit of this freedom, that you actually will experience it. Unlike the majority of other products and services that are presented to you. And that's why it's so awkward. That's why it has to be heartfelt. Because the mind isn't going to give this freedom to you. Oh, it's tried, but it can't. It's not qualified. And once again, this is why we are so honored to be of service to all of you who are willing to trust your heart. So much trust, with a healthy sense of humor. All of you carry with you your own unique stories from all of your past lifetimes. All of them. You carry with you a type of photo album that is filled with all of these memories. Now, you might not know the details now in this current life, but some of your responses to life will give you a hint. Will give you a hint. As you have brought with you not only the experiences that serve you, but some of you have brought with you as well the baggage that kept you from experiencing this freedom. One of those responses that you carry in this photo album relates to a feeling that at one time or another, in one of your previous lifetimes and in this lifetime, you have been wrongfully accused. Accused of being or doing something that you know you didn't do, or at least you don't really represent. Each and every time you would try to defend your innocence while relying on others to grant you your freedom. From the outside in, it was so much easier to identify the accusers, those who questioned your own innocence. And this pattern continued for many, many lifetimes. It became a type of game. Some lifetimes you played the role of the oppressor. Others, you played the victim. You started to become aware that neither of these roles truly honors your innocence. Your search, then, for some type of solution to this dilemma led you to a variety of teachings. You discovered that most of the teachings placed a huge responsibility on your human nature. To do what? To improve itself. Or on a fabricated higher power that was supposed to do it for you. Neither of those actually did much to improve your life. And you've experienced it here again in this lifetime. You tried to improve yourself, and some of you that are still feeling a little stuck in the awareness that you are now completely free, you still try to make your human responsible for achieving what it's not capable of achieving. It is capable of allowing. And that's why we put so much emphasis there. And so you continued your search. Such was the value that you have placed on your innocence. But then you discovered another approach. One that wasn't very public. That wasn't shared by or with many other human beings. It didn't become well known to mass consciousness because it went outside of this mental-based construct of a reality. It invited all of you to step outside of a mental-based reality. It invited you to go within. Let's take a breath there. It was here that you started to experience, perhaps in bits and pieces, and for the first time, how it actually feels to be completely innocent. Innocent of what? Innocent of blame. Innocent of guilt. Innocent of judgment. These, what we'll call master teachings, didn't grant you this freedom. They simply reminded you that this innocence was your birthright. It was your birthright to feel innocent. Another breath, please. And so in this lifetime, you have started to develop a very different relationship with this priceless quality. You began to accept, through a variety of new teachings, that suggested that this feeling of pure innocence is actually your natural state. Wow. Indeed. Wow. Because if that truly is your natural state, then what is all this other stuff you've accommodated? We'll come back around to that. You began to wonder, what would happen to your life if you allowed this natural feeling to coexist inside of all of your creations, all of your experiences? How would life respond to that choice? Our work with each of you now honors that choice to be aware and to choose from that place by encouraging you to be a conscious creator of your own experience. Even though you can feel the lingering elements in that photo album that you brought with you, of being the oppressor to feel more powerful than others, being the victim to blame others for trying to be more powerful than you. Both roles are solely based on feeling incredibly insecure. Whether you pump yourself up as a buffoon, speak loudly, declare that you know what's better for others, or whether you hide behind the shadows of your own natural state of consciousness. and pretend that life is doing these things to you without your permission. Take another breath there. So our work with you was to help you to become conscious of the parts of you that simply do not trust that it is safe for you to feel this innocence as a human being. Because these parts will refer to that photo album as tangible evidence, as a reference from your past to prove its point. And what is its point? It's not safe for you to feel innocent here on this planet. You will once again become abused. You'll be disrespected. And that would be true if you didn't allow your soul to be with you. So as a creator of your own experience, you have slowly accepted that all this talk about allowing has a lot to do with not reacting. Allowing also means not reacting. It doesn't mean that you allow others to disrespect or harm you. That, of course, is what your mind fears. And that's what your photo album reinforces from all your previous lifetimes. It means that you don't react to all these deep-seated emotions that live inside you now in this body and inside the photo album that you brought with you. As a conscious creator, you become aware that they too act as magnets, these emotions, attracting to you circumstances and events that do not serve your heart, do not serve a human soul relationship. They do, however, serve the roles that you've been playing as the oppressor or the victim. And because so many of you, more than we have ever witnessed before on this planet, have also made another bold conscious choice. You've started to embrace this very innocent, divine nature that you can now feel inside of you as being the real you. Wow. How priceless is that? Or, if you listen to your mind, how stupid is that? It's awkward, is it not? To have a support base that's solely based on trust because you're willing to feel the energetic presence of this state of consciousness. And because you're willing to put it in practice. You're willing to give it the opportunity, the freedom to demonstrate its own priceless nature by allowing it to support you in a very different way than how you've been supported using your mind. So, for example, it would require of Robert to embrace that he is actually me, having a human experience as him. And the same is true for each of you in relationship to your own eternal self. Let's take a moment here and practice that. Oh, you can feel my presence, those of you that are open. I've been in service to you for a very long time. But really my role with each of you is to act as a mediator between you, the human, and your own eternal self, which as I look at each of you, is standing right next to you. Not impatient, with no agenda, just wondering, is now a good time to allow me to also be in your life? Robert had to face the same choice. Was he going to maintain this relationship so that his mind, his own human personality, maintained control by calling this a channeled message? Or was he going to allow who he also is to also be in his experience here? Still calling himself Robert. You know, to your traditional counselors, they would not label this as priceless. They have other terms to call this anything that exists outside a linear singular identity. We have words for that, but that would be disrespectful to those who only know and refuse to allow anything but being that singular identity. That singular identity, of course, is your own mind. That's all it knows. Without the presence of your soul, it hasn't a clue that multifaceted relationships are even real or even possible. It hasn't a clue about multidimensional realities. Oh, it can explore it through theory and through your microscopes. But of course, those realities will never be found outside of you. They only exist within you. And the same here is true for each of you who have made such a bold choice to be more than just a singular human being with a singular identity. You see, the natural state of spirit is multidimensional. And if you're feeling very disconnected from consciousness itself, which is spirit in motion, then of course all this is just theory. It's just concepts. Every single teacher that has been on this planet, that has inspired every single one of your religions, had this relationship with life in a way that transcended the limitations of how the mind perceives reality. How your mind, when you look in the mirror, perceives you as a human being with one name, with a singular identity. So as you allow this eternal self to be here with you as a counterpart, each of you see from the eternal self, we're given the freedom to also be sovereign creators. But the energetic or heart-based lineage to your eternal self can never truly be severed. Oh, the mind can be in a state of complete denial and pretend that we don't exist by creating a filter, an energetic filter around this planet to maintain control. It has worked for a very long time. But it has changed, has it not? Because each of you, every single day, feel the presence of this presence, this innocence in your body with you. You go into struggle because it's hard for you to allow it to stay there. Your other identity. So many of you are beginning to feel the priceless value of a state of consciousness that is truly innocent of doing anything wrong. And we're talking about before this planet was even created. We notice that so many of you are developing a preference for being in this energy. And because of that, you're also starting to shift your allegiance from one identity to another. Our response? Bold, bold choice, my friends. Certainly not the easiest choice you could have made. Bold, bold choice. But because you've made that choice, many of you now wake up in the middle of the night, hearing these thoughts running through your head that are trying to figure out your life by either replaying what you did that was unfulfilling from your past, or projecting what might come in the future because of all these unresolved emotions. But what we were noticing, instead of unconsciously getting pulled into those thoughts and emotions, so many of you now are making a conscious choice just to observe them. And this, my friends, is allowing in action. Allowing in action. Allowing those thoughts and emotions to exist without giving away your freedom. Without playing the role of the victim or the oppressor. Without getting entangled in all the trauma that's connected to those thoughts and then to those emotions. What once felt so real to you from your past no longer has that pull. No longer feels so real. And of course, because you're practicing this, consciously choosing now for yourself, you become aware of when you're not allowing. And that plays a huge role in your life too. When aren't you allowing? You're not allowing when you take what others say personally outside of you and get engaged with them. You're not allowing when you find yourself feeling defensive based on what anybody else might be saying about you and your own creations outside of you. You're not allowing when you try to make others feel responsible for how you're feeling, blaming them for why you're not feeling connected anymore. To honor this shift in this newfound allegiance, you have made another bold choice. And again, we are only here as a witness in support of all the choices you're making. And if you've been following our teachings, this is fairly new, but all of you know that time is not on your side. It is not. Time is not on your side. And we are speaking now just to those of you who are at the forefront of this embodied human soul relationship. Time is not on your side. If you want to take this opportunity while the window is still open in this period of time, in this current cycle, to be with those who are also at the forefront of this change of consciousness, it doesn't mean you miss this opportunity for the rest of your life. That is not what is being offered. It simply means you're choosing to step back and participate in the next cycle. Oh, you'll appear to be quite the teacher to those that are just beginning. And unfortunately, some who choose not to allow for the full embodiment of the soul with their human will also confuse some of those who are just awakening. Because they'll have the knowledge without the experience. But those of you that are choosing this current cycle that is coming to a close, and using Yeshua's terms, over the next couple years, your next bold choice was to promote the master doer, your mind, giving it a different role. Because for so long, its main role was simply to protect your innocence from the world outside of you, not the innocence that you are now allowing, that is, your divine innocence. It's been protecting the innocence of your human self that feels victimized by life. Your mind feels overwhelmed playing that role when that responsibility was also applied to the world or the reality that exists inside of you. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that in your dreams? Have you noticed that in the thoughts and emotions when you wake up over and over during your night and your mind's trying so feverishly to protect you, protect your human wounded heart, your innocence, from being disrespected or abused? And so when you chose to have this embodiment, it's not so easy for the mind from within. In fact, all of you have found it's almost impossible for the mind from within to identify the source of the accuser. Oh, it has tried. It has attempted to label it as being one source, but that's the best it can do. You can feel your mind's concern, and you can also feel its fear on a daily basis, using your human emotions to communicate with you where it's at in its role to be your protector. The more you allow now your human self to be embraced by the presence of your own divine innocence, the more this master doer, your mind, will naturally resist. Until what? When does that end? When does the mind and soul become compatible partners. It ends, dear ones, the moment you also allow this presence to actually be you too. Not the rock band, you too. Some of you have tried to experience this intellectually. And what did you discover? Nothing changed. You're still feeling stuck. The moment you embrace this part of you as also being you and allow it too to be in your life, then everything changes. Everything. Going back to how we started. Everything changes in your physical body. Everything changes in your emotional body. Everything changes in how you respond or relate to your mind. Everything changes in the relationship you have with every single other human being. Everything changes in the relationship you have with your own spiritual families, including this one, the family of Mikael. Everything changes in how you've been interrelating with the Eternal One. Everything changes in how you feel about home, the kingdom. The moment you embrace this part of you as also being you, then the you that is this divine innocence brings with it and shares with you all that it knows, all of its wisdom. It is a deep, deep sharing. It is a deep knowingness. Allowing yourself to go into this place where your divine innocence comes into your body, literally, and shares its wisdom, its presence, its complete and total acceptance with you and of you. And it is at this point that you stop blaming the mind for the life that you are not living. You stop playing these mind games that would suggest that you have no control over your thoughts and emotions. You don't need to control them. You allow them to be just as they are by not reacting to them, by not processing all these unresolved emotions through your body. And how is that going? How is your body feeling? We are at this place now with all of you who are at the forefront of this change, where you now are responsible for everything that is your life experience right now. You are completely responsible for whatever degree or quality of your life as it is right now. You can't blame the lineage that you brought with you in that photo album. You can't even blame the lineage that is a part of the cellular structure of your own physical body. Everything that you are now experiencing, everything is a part of your creation. And this is why we were so intensely, perhaps, concerned about you stepping into this place. Because if you're not allowing that divine innocence, then the drama that your mind was creating multiplies. It impacts the health and well-being of your body. It impacts the health and well-being of your ability to receive resources in your life, money. There's no expectation from us that you must perfect this type of relationship. The perfection actually exists in the allowance of two complete opposites now coexisting inside of you, under the guidance, under the sovereign domain, now of your own divine innocence. This most sacred of reunions is indeed priceless. And we, your angelic counterparts, have never witnessed such a freedom in motion, ever. If not for all of you, none of us would be here at this time. And of course, if not for all of us, your angelic counterparts, none of you would be here at this time as well. Such is the beauty of what is unfolding, this most sacred of reunions. All because the few human beings were willing to lay down the sword and allow this defenseless presence, your own innocent, to be present. And because so many of you have allowed it to be present in your body, in your mind, in your emotions, what have you discovered? Yes, indeed. You discovered that your divine, natural state of consciousness, this state of innocence, fears no thing. It doesn't need to be protected. It's already living within the grace of life itself. For it is life. It is consciousness itself. Imagine if consciousness, the building tool, the building stone for all of creation, suddenly went into fear. Indeed. And so we find ourselves then literally walking alongside the new masters, calling themselves by your own human name, but feeling throughout your entire day the freedom to feel and experience this very priceless innocence that is your birthright. There are many stories that suggest it was taken from you. There are many stories of how you have done battle with those outside of you, on this planet and off of this planet, because this innocence was not valued, was not honored, was not perceived as being sacred. Many, many stories. And so here you are, as an angelic being yourself, who never need ever feel alone again. because you've allowed your own eternal self to also be in your life with you. We know that pushes buttons for that human identity, for it changes how you appear to others, how you speak to others, how you feel about life. Where others might see pain, you just see life. It could appear to others that you are detached, cold, non-feeling, because you aren't reacting to what's happening outside of you. Because literally, when you allow this divine nature to be in your body, in your life with you, you live alongside the rest of your human family, but you are not sharing the same reality. And that's what's happening right now. You have created a very unique reality that's based in love, that's based in partnerships, compassion, cooperation, allowance. But it's not always so softly spoken, because it also has within it the fire of creation. And within that fire comes a tremendous amount of enthusiasm, joy. Within that fire exists a fearless state of consciousness. That fire, dear ones, is now literally at your fingertips, and you can't play with it without harming yourself. If you're trying to play with it just from your human perspective, just from your mind. The mind is not qualified or equipped to work with multi-layered and multi-dimensional experiences. So don't abuse it by insisting that it be responsible for this new relationship. Promote it. Give it that promotion. A new job title. Dear mind, you're now in service to serving this divine innocence. You act as more of a guide now, showing this presence how to drive a car, how to walk down the street, how to be in a physical body, how to identify stoplights, how to coexist with other human beings. Your mind now is your guide. And it will take a little time for your mind to gracefully accept this and not see it as some kind of demotion. Because as the guide, it doesn't need a sword. There's nothing to protect. But it's very, very important in this new relationship with your own innocence. We love you dearly, dear ones. You are so honored for having the courage where very few have ever gone before. And we look forward to how this dance that you are dancing continues to unfold, how the energy continues to weave and spin in a variety of directions, and how your very presence, this divine presence, ends up serving the family of humanity in ways that for the most part will be unrecognized by that very family. So be it. You're not looking for recognition. You don't need to be recognized. All of our blessings to each and every one of you.